Spicy, nutty, garlicky, salsa macha. Hi everyone and welcome back to my kitchen. This page in our taco manual is all about salsa macha. You could translate that as like macho salsa because oftentimes it's very spicy, but it's completely different than all other salsas in Mexico because this is an oil-based salsa. If you go into a Chinese restaurant and you see that chili oil on the table, well, this is sort of related to that, though it's way more complex because this has peanuts in it and sesame, and it's got a lot of garlic in it. It's really complex and really good, and it is really having a moment right now. You can go to so many Mexican places, especially the more contemporary places, and everybody's got their version or some version of salsa macha on their menu. So let me show you how to make it. First of all, it's an oil-based salsa. You can start with vegetable oil if you want to. I really like to make this with olive oil. I've got a pan heating here over medium heat. So I'm going to pour in our 1.5 cups of the salsa. By the way, this salsa is great because it keeps forever. So you can make a lot of it and keep it in your refrigerator, and literally months and months and months could go by. I like to take a spoonful of it when I'm making a pasta dish and add it to that. It's just great as a flavor booster in a lot of different recipes. Okay, so I'm going to put in 2 ounces of garlic cloves. A large head of garlic is about 2 ounces. Well, that's what it is. If you want to measure it in a cup, it's about 1/2 cup. And then I'm going to add some untoasted peanuts to this. And this is going to take about 10 minutes to cook. We want to toast the peanuts, and then we want the garlic to just get soft, okay? It's more like confit style here rather than frying. So you'll see little bubbles coming up, and that's the right thing, but it shouldn't really look like it's frying. Now, while that's cooking, let's talk about the chilies that are going in here. Some people will make this with all arbola's, which will make it just incredibly spicy. I like to combine different kinds of dried chilies in this because I'm looking for complexity as well as spice. So I've got some arbol chilies here, a little handful of them. We're going for about 2 ounces of chilies all told. And for that, you actually do need a scale to measure them. I always start with guajillos because they're going to give me the kind of flavor and color that's really wonderful as a backbone to everything. And of course, we'll take the stems off of them. And then we'll shake out the chili seeds. In this one, we want to get most of those chili seeds out. And then I've got these beautiful cascabel chilies here, the ones that are named after sleigh bells because they look like bells. And I'm going to do the same thing to them. The arbola's I'm just going to leave whole and put them in here at the end. But for the guajillos, of course, I'm just knocking out almost all of the seeds there. When you're working with the cascabels, you might find them to be a little harder to work with, only because of their shape, that's all. So I've got this. Let me show you one of these cascabels here. You shake them out to get the seeds out of them. And then everything is going to get torn into sort of smaller pieces so that we can add them to the oil when the garlic is ready, and we can toast them at that point. So I'll meet you back here when all of the garlic is ready and the peanuts are toasted. Okay, our garlic now has sort of started to brown. I know it's completely soft. You can see that the peanuts have gotten a beautiful kind of tan color to them. So now's the moment that I'm going to drop the chilies into this oil, and I'm going to measure in here 3 tablespoons of sesame seeds. These are untoasted sesame seeds. So we'll put those in here, and they will toast right away along with these chilies. Man, the smell is just incredible. One of the things that I like the most about making salsa macha is the fact that you get all this beautiful toasted nut and garlic and chili aroma in the kitchen. This will take about a minute, and I go a little bit by the look of it, but also by the smell of it. Once I start to smell toasting chilies, that's when I know we are ready to move on. So our next thing is going to be to add to this a little bit of water, and that's going to help to rehydrate these chilies just a tiny bit. I'm going to add a couple of tablespoons of vinegar to it. In this particular recipe, I like to put balsamic vinegar, but you can use any kind of vinegar that you want. And we're going to add about a teaspoon of salt to it as well. Okay, now I'm getting that aroma of the toasting chilies. Oh, by the way, as the garlic was cooking, it started to look like more frying than sort of confitting, and so I reduced the temperature here more toward a medium-low heat because we don't want anything in this recipe to burn. Okay, now I know I can smell those toasted chilies are ready, so I'm going to add our vinegar to it, and you'll hear that happen. I've already measured out the 1/4 cup of water, so I can put that in there. Oh, and then I'm going to put in my teaspoon of salt. And yes, there will be some evaporation that happens because that oil is hot. I'm going to let that cook for just a second. I'm going to turn the temperature completely off now. And I'm going to let these just sit for a minute, and then we're going to go to the blending process. Our salsa macha base has cooled to room temperature. I think it's still just slightly warm, but that will be fine for this. And I'm going to pour it all into the blender jar. I've done this before with an immersion blender, but I actually like it better in the regular blender. But if you're an immersion blender person, you might want to try that here. I like the greater power of the regular blender. So I'm going to put the top on, and I'm going to turn this on, and I'm going to have it on low speed just at the beginning. And please pay attention to that, because you want to get this thing stirring around at the beginning so that you know that everything is sort of evenly moving through the blades. And now I'm going to raise the speed some. And what I'm looking for is small pieces of all of the nuts, the peanuts that we have in there, and all of the chilies. You don't have to worry about the garlic. It's soft already. It'll just get mixed in. And you want to do this at lower speeds because you want to control it. You want to look in here and see what the consistency of all of this is, okay? So we've still got big pieces of peanut and large pieces of the chilies there. So I'm going to put this back on and turn it on again at that same speed that I was at. But now I'm going to raise it just a little bit. Let's take another look at the consistency here. It's getting close now, but there's still big pieces of chili. They should be tiny. I mean, we're talking about the size, about 1/8 of an inch, something like that. And right now I'm kind of at 1/4 of an inch. What we're not looking for is a puree. There should be consistency. This is it. Okay, so this is the right consistency. Small pieces of peanut and small pieces of the chilies. So as this sits, the oil will separate to the top, so you want to stir it back in, obviously coming straight out of the blender jar it does have a consistency that will be different than when it cools off. Now let's just taste. Man, is that good. Your salsa macha might just become your favorite salsa.